Thank you so much, Dan. That was a blessing, and thank you for being with us today and sharing with us today.
Alhamdulillah.
I would like now to give space to our governor. Governor Raimondo is here, and as always, has shared her words with us in this video. We thank her for her time today, and we thank her for her leadership during this time, this tumultuous time in our state. Governor?
Thank you, David. Good afternoon, everybody. I have to say, I always look forward to this event in the Rotunda. For me, it's always been the unofficial beginning of the new legislative year, and it always seemed very fitting to me to begin our work with our friends in faith and our leaders in the clergy, because, as David said, we want to work with you, but also are counting on you to hold us accountable. And that is no different this year than any year. If anything, it's all the more true this year. I think I see on this Zoom Senator Maryellen Goodwin, who's, in addition to a tremendous senator and leader for the poor and champion for the poor and vulnerable, also a very dear friend of mine. And but for her leadership, we wouldn't have paid family leave, increases in the minimum wage as often as we have, funding for housing. So I want to especially thank Senator Goodwin, and I want to recognize Senator Conley, who is also a dear friend, and I want to thank you publicly, Bill, for your service, because you also have been a great advocate for the poor. This past year has been brutal. There's no other way to say it. It's been the hardest year of people's lives for many people. And as we end the year, begin the new year, there are more Rhode Islanders kind of on the brink than really at any time that I can remember, on the brink of losing their home, on the brink of losing their job, the mental illness that has come due to the isolation, children trying to learn at home. I mean, the amount of suffering and sadness and darkness is pretty overwhelming. So I think our job is more important than ever. On a spiritual basis, I think we have to find the light and the hope. We have to find the light in this darkness and help others to find the light. We really have to maintain our faith and our vigilance and our hope. And we got to work harder. We have to work harder. So that means investments in housing. I'd like to see us raise the minimum wage again. I'd like to see more money in pre-K and in childcare. I have made a big push in the past, and I'd like to do it again to make sure that companies provide health care for their employees. They shouldn't be so poor, such as to be on food stamps and Medicaid. There's an awful lot to do in the rebuilding post-COVID. I pushed for a big bond package, which the General Assembly, I am very pleased to say, they approved it in full and put it on the ballot. That's a big opportunity for all of us here to rally around. There'll be a special election in March. In the bond package, there are historic investments in housing. We have a housing crisis. Let's get that passed. In money for pre-K and early childhood, in open space, in clean water. So I would just encourage you to help us get that over the finish line. And it's unusual in that it's not in November, so we got to get people out to vote and do the right thing and vote yes. And then I'm working very hard. I spent much of yesterday trying to figure out how we best and most quickly and most efficiently get the new federal stimulus money for rental assistance into the hands of folks. Here's the good news. I'll give you some light and some good news. It's almost $200 million for Rhode Island in federal money for rent payments. that is fantastic. So I'm driving the team really hard to figure out, okay, folks, let's get that money out the door fast, efficiently, and in the right places. By the way, to that end, Joe Sachs, who's on the phone, will be in touch with you soon, because we're going to distribute that through DHS and really get into the hands of people who need it. And in the meantime, like immediately, if you know of people who you know, your friends in your parishes and your faith communities who are on the verge of homelessness, call Joe right away, because we don't want anybody to be homeless ever, but I know it's a huge issue now. So in any event, thank you, all of you, as I look around Zoom. So many of you have been so helpful to me and my administration and to your communities through the pandemic, making sure that we're there for people in need. We're not out of the woods yet. In a few months, we will be. We will have everyone vaccinated, and that will be great. And between now and then, we have to double down on protecting the poor, working families, those children who are isolated at home trying to learn, families working in poverty, families who are food insecure. I'm as committed as ever, and I know each of you is. And as I say, I think it's been hard. The worst is behind us. This year is a year of rebuilding, and we need to rebuild with a real commitment to those who live in the shadows or on the edges.
Thank you, Governor, for your time, for your words, and we look forward to working with you this year to really fight poverty and inequality in our state. Thank you so much for being with us today.